Hey, this is Julia Burnett, Senior National Sales Director, and I love saying that. That's so fun. Anyway, I just want to say congratulations. This video is for those in Linda Tubin's area who met some qualifications last month and you added a new team member. And I am just so humbled and honored that Linda would even ask me to do this for you guys. And I just want you to know right off the bat how much I absolutely love and respect and just would jump off a cliff for your national sales director. And I know you must be feeling so grateful right now that out of all the people and all of the Mary Kay arena that you quite possibly could have been intersected with, that God put you with Linda Tupin. I mean, Linda Tupin, who like literally leads like half of the country in Mary Kay. So, I mean, listen, I know you probably know this, but I just gotta say it again. I mean, she is one of the most brilliant leaders I have ever in my entire life been privileged to be able to learn from, and has foremost impacted my life in countless ways. I just could go on and on. So I will stop talking because I could spend the whole hour talking about Linda Tupin. But with that being said, turning it over to you, congratulations for your excellence last month. And aren't you excited about, going into a new month with fresh momentum? There's something about getting a new team member that just seems really hopeful. You have a new team member and sometimes you start seeing the opportunity through their eyes, and it kind of reminds you of how hopeful that you can become when you get your starter kit. And you probably all remember the moment you got your starter kit and you opened it and you're like, ah! And so I'm going to invite you, as you share the opportunity, that passion, that enthusiasm is really what ignites people and attracts people towards you, is that genuine excitement. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about, you've added one team member, but kind of where do we go from here? I'm like taking it up a notch. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the numbers, a little bit about the mindset, and a little bit about kind of like some mechanicals, like what to do. So that way you have a little bit of head, heart, and your soul. All right. So anyhow, the first thing that I want to say, about team building is we know that at every appointment that there's three things that we want to accomplish to make it full circle at every group appointment. We want to sell skincare sets, we want to book future appointments, group appointments, and we want to share the opportunity. We know in a perfect world, we would do two of each. We would focus on selling 2 skincare sets to 2 guests, book 2 future appointments as insurance, and we would share the opportunity with 2. Okay, the good news in this is, you probably know from new consultant training, Mary Kay Basics 101, some of the numbers of the business. And what I think is awesome about that, and really quite amazing, and let me kind of put this in perspective. When I worked in the corporate world, there was a gal there who got a promotion, and everyone was like excited for her on the outside, but then after the applause, everyone was like talky, like, well, why did she get a promotion? And how did that happen for her? And I'm here every day and I work really hard and she got a promotion, but the truth of the matter was, there was some truth in that. No one knew how she got a promotion. And I have to say myself, I really didn't see any difference between her and everybody else. And it seemed political. And I have to say, I love in Mary Kay that nothing is political. Like, it is straight up, first day of the job or first day of your Mary Kay journey, we tell you these are the typical numbers. And that never happened when I worked in the corporate world or when I worked in the at a university. That no one ever said this is how you get a promotion. So I'm telling you, very beginning, we know the numbers that 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5-ish will say yes when you share the opportunity. So what that means is, if you had no team members today, which I know you have at least one, you really are 6 full circle parties away from being in your red jacket. You're 28 full circle parties away from earning the use of your very first Mary Kay career card. Let me break that down. You need 14 team members, and we need 4 career chats to get each one of those 14. So 14 times 4 is 56 career chats. And if we book 2 sharing appointments from each party, that's basically 56 divided by 2 is 28 full circle parties. The good news is that you're 20 full circle parties away from being in DIQ. I mean, how awesome is that? Think about that. You are 20 full circle parties away. It's a matter of, are you willing to work at full circle? Are you willing to be courageous to work at full circle? And how close together do you want those parties to be? You are also 48 full circle parties away from debuting as a sales director, meaning you need 24 team members to become a unit, times 4 career chats each is 96 career chats away. You book 2 per party, That means you're 48 full circle parties between you and your team away from getting those 24. Now, those are averages. Don't pinpoint me to those, but those are the averages of our business. And so that's a beautiful thing. It's not 48 full circle parties over the course of like 3 years. I mean, they've got to be in a dense period of time. But the beauty of that is it's a lot of it is the willingness to do the work. Okay. Now let's talk about the mindset. We can be willing to do the work, but if we don't have the right mindset, it may not matter how much work we do. Okay, so you've got to have a servant's mindset. You've got to have a spirit of gratitude, and you've got to have the mindset of you're sharing the opportunity, not I'm recruiting somebody. It's fine to have the mindset of, you're looking for team members, but you're coming at that angle from I'm sharing the opportunity to see if there's a match. And I love the word match. And if you're taking notes, write down the word match. I'm just seeing if there's a match, okay? So part of the mindset is, aren't you glad someone shared this opportunity with you? Think of the ways that your life has been positively impacted because of someone sharing Mary Kay with you. I mean, I know my recruiter, she's still in my life. She's still a friend. I still see her all the time, and I still thank her constantly for sharing this business with me, even though she was in and out of this business in 6 months, but that's fine. I think God used her to share it with me, and I'm so glad that she did. And so I want you to see the opportunity as a gift, almost like I have this precious gift. It's been such a gift to me, and I want to push it out to the middle of the table, and I just want to offer it to you. I just want to share with you, what it's done for me, see what you need in your life right now, and I'm just going to see if there's a match. And if there's not a match right now, that's okay. And if there is, awesome. Either way, I'm great with that. And sometimes I think if someone says no to us, we're afraid, like we don't know how to keep them in our life or how to talk to them again. And that was a mistake that I made as a new consultant. When someone said no, it was almost like they became, I hate to say this, it's almost like they became dead to me. They said no. So for me, it was so personal that I never even called them for a mascara anymore, or for a refill, or check on their product, or ask them to be a hostess. I mean, what a total miss. So don't make the mistake I made, because my personal team could have been so much bigger, but I didn't know how to make it loose enough to just keep it okay, because it wasn't like they were rejecting me, but I took it as a personal rejection. So that was really silly. But I just want to say that in case that's any of your mindset. So the way that you leave career chats that don't end in a yes, sign me up right now is, it's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. And you never know. And could we shake that if you decide it ever is something that you'd like to do, that you would be loyal to me and that you would find me. And in the meantime, I'd still love to service your product, and I'll follow up with you and all that great stuff. And I really genuinely thank you for your time. It's been so helpful. So do you see how that just plants a seed and lays the path for, for something else later? Okay. The next part of the mindset is, you're sharing and you're learning to share. And you are. And you're also getting her opinion, which you are. And you need to refine your skills, which you do. And after 15 years, for every no I've ever gotten, or no, not now, I am genuinely grateful for that, because I learn something every single time I talk to someone. I come from a point of fascination. I am so genuinely curious about other people. And it doesn't matter what their status is, or their title, or what they have or haven't accomplished in life. My mindset is, I can't wait to learn something from them. I am genuinely curious about them. I want to know what they do and how they do it. And I think that genuine curiosity keeps people in my life, and it attracts people to me because I actually care. And so that's another part of the mindset. Even if something doesn't go the way that you're hoping it does, I always just said to myself, well, it's part of my education, just part of my education, because it is a part of my education. It totally is. So anyway, my job is just to share it, and her job is to help me learn. Okay. And if it's for her, great. And if not, great. No big deal. Okay. But you just have to take the seriousness out of it. And part of my mindset was always this is light and airy. This is light and airy, or it's really fun, or let's just see a Monopoly game. It's a giant game to me. Let's just see who the players are going to be. And if she's not a player, but I thought she was going to be a player, that's okay. She's not the player. It must be somebody else who it's going to be for. So it's just that mindset of it's a giant game, and we're just going to see how this goes. And like I said, I think that attracts people to you. Okay. Now, what I will say is, sometimes we get unstuck and we don't share the opportunity, or we don't share it full out. And there's a couple of reasons that we don't share it full out, okay? One reason I think we don't share it full out, when maybe at one point we had, was when we have a team member who joined our team who didn't do anything with it, or didn't take advantage to all that was available to her. Or she started and then a life thing happened and she just never got her footing again. And I want to say, you know, I have a lot of really phenomenal women in my national area who've been highly successful. And I don't take responsibility for their success, because, I mean, I know I influenced it and I definitely impacted it, but I'm not responsible for that. I didn't do it for them. Like, they did it. Like, they were hungry for it. They just followed what I told them to do. And they were coachable. But I don't take responsibility for their success. So I also can't take responsibility on the other side, the yin and the yang. You know, the yin is, you know, I'm not taking responsibility for their success. And the yang is, I'm not taking responsibility for their failure, because it's not on me. It's on them. Like, they've got to own it whichever direction they go. Okay. And let me put this in perspective. If you invite someone with you to your aerobics class, or to your Zumba class, or to your gym, okay, and they came to a class and they're like, oh my gosh, I love Zumba. This is so much fun. I didn't even feel like I was exercising. I love it. And they got real excited. And in the emotion of it, if they signed up for 20 classes or for unlimited or whatever, and they join the gym, they pay the money, and then they never go, or they go a couple times and they get busy, and then a kid gets sick, and next thing you know, it's been like 5 months and they haven't shown up to any classes, okay? Or their favorite TV shows at the exact same time as their favorite aerobics class. Would you decide that that was your fault, that she showed up, she got excited, she paid her money, she decided to commit, and then didn't do a darn thing? Absolutely not. And it's the Mary Kay, the exact same thing. If they decide something for them and then they become uncommitted because it's harder than they thought, it was more time than what they really wanted to devote to it, or they had some emotional issue they just couldn't seem to overcome, that's on, as sad as that is, that's on them, okay? The potential that exists in this company has not changed just because they aren't doing anything with it. Let me say that again. The potential that exists in this company, in this opportunity, has not changed just because they are choosing to not do anything with it, okay? Your team members, for the most part, are grown women. They have planned weddings. They have given birth to babies. They have held down full-time jobs. They have run a household. They have graduated from college, or they have planned a vacation. Like, these are women who, you know, have done something in life. And people do what they desire to do at the end of the day. Okay, people show up for what they want to show up. They spend money on what they want to spend money on. They're big girls, okay? And they need to be, yes, loved no matter what, but they also, some of your team members need to be released. Some of them need to be released, and we hang on sometimes to an idea of what they could have been. And let me just say this. I love science. And have you ever seen like a dam of water? Let me see if I, you know, like, let's say here's a dam, okay, and here's water behind the dam. And the dam is holding back the water, okay? The energy that's in this water up against the dam is called potential energy, meaning like it has possible energy once the floodgate is released, but the energy is not right necessarily there yet because it's not been released yet. Once the dam comes down, the floodgate comes down, that all that energy, that potential energy, is released. I think it's called kinetic energy, but it doesn't matter. The point is, once the floodgate is open, that water, and it's movement. It's the movement that creates the energy. It's movement. But sometimes we're paying attention to the team member's potential, which is still locked up behind this dam. And it takes the dam moving to actually release the energy. And so the movement in our business is showing up to stuff, getting on the phone, actually making some connections with human beings. I mean, that is the key. It's movement, okay? And Larry DeAngie, who's like a motivational speaker, I heard him say one time that you can only help those who are willing to allow you to help them. And if you have reached out and you've connected and you've, you know, loved on her, and she just, you know, she's back to bing, you know, the wall. All that potential's here. We hang on to what's here, but girlfriend, she ain't doing anything. So some people on your team, you just need to let go and go get people who are going to be in motion, which are the new people. Okay, the new people. Okay. Okay, the next thought I want to give you is we all get the same starter kit. Okay, we all get the same starter kit. There was nothing special in my starter kit that wasn't in your starter kit. In fact, you probably got a better starter kit than I got. My kids like those Danimals, those yogurts, and there's 3 Danimel yogurts in all of America in the last month that are the golden Danimels. And if you get one of the golden Danimels, you know, you win some cruise for the family or something like that. And my kids are all excited about, could they find the golden Danimel? And it's funny. But sometimes I think we think in Mary Kay, oh, she got the golden starter kit. Dang got it when the UPS driver dropped off her starter kit. She got the golden one. She shot straight to NSD. I'm telling you what, there was nothing extra in my starter kit that you didn't have in your starter kit. So we got the same starter kit. We have the same opportunity. You know, it's what we choose to do with it or not do with it. It's what we choose to get on the phone and cause the movement to happen, okay? It does make a difference where we end up, but we got the same starter kit, all right? The next thought is, you know, it's human nature. It's total human nature that some will and some won't. Okay, some will and some won't. So what? Someone is waiting. Okay, and the sooner that you learn to focus on the yeses and the sheer work that it takes to be successful, the mundane, behind the scenes when no one is watching, no one is cheering you on, that work, not the glorious I'm on stage, but the mundane. You know, the I'm getting on the phone again, I'm getting on the phone again, I'm connecting again. That work, that is the work that counts. Instead of who didn't show up or who didn't say yes or who said they would be a face model for you and they confirmed an hour ago and suddenly you can't figure out where they are. I mean, you just can't focus on the people who don't show up. You know, your national sales leader talks all the time about the bell curve, okay? And it's just the bell curve. Years ago, my husband and I, we were presidents of our Sunday school class at church. And I would say there were at least 30 couples, at least 60 people minimum in this class. And we were just like amazed that we would plan like service projects and community things and social events and all that. It seemed like every single time the same 6 people showed up. Out of 60 people, the same 6 would show up. I mean, 6 to 8. Just a handful of couples were those that actually showed up to do something. Did it mean there was something wrong with the service project? No. Is there something wrong with those who did choose to participate? No. Is there something wrong with my church? No. So a team member who doesn't show up, it really has something to do with you. So let's stop making it about you. Sometimes we're like, what did I do wrong? And what am I not a good leader? And am I not equipped? And can I not? And no, it has nothing to do with that, probably. I mean, chances are, 95% chance are, it has everything to do with her and her life. Unless you're just like over the top and turn people off right and left. If that's the case, then maybe we do have a problem. But if you know you have a pure heart and you like love people, it's not you, okay? My success really, it had nothing to do with my recruiter. It didn't. It had nothing to do with my recruiter at all. I was excited to run with her because I love her. But she ran for such a short season and I just kept going, you know. So my success did not come from her. It didn't even come from my sales director, who I also loved and respected. It came from my own burning desire to be successful. That's what it came from. My success depended zero on what she was or was not doing with the business. Okay. You know, she stopped working, but I kept on going because I was hungry for it. Okay. Another reason we don't share the opportunity, I think, can be if we have found ourselves in any type of financial quandary because we didn't manage our money well. Or we didn't manage it the Mary Kay way. And your national sales director, thankfully, is like super big on money management. So I don't even need to go into that. But I have seen that before, that if you have made some mistakes with the way you're, you know, if you can't I've heard them say, if you can't manage a checkbook, you don't need to be running a business. Well, I agree with that. But sometimes if you feel like you're not making money because you're not managing it well, you don't have a system, you don't have evidence like you're using your Mary Kay money to go through a drive-through after a party, or you go to Walmart and you pick up some stuff and you use Mary Kay money, so you have no record of your money. I mean, if any of that kind of stuff is going on, that's just, first of all, not okay. But second of all, you know, you don't feel like you have something to show for the work that you're doing, and therefore you don't also want to share that with somebody else because you don't want them to experience the same thing. Okay, so if that's the case, if that happens to be your story at the time, just remember you're sharing the Mary Kay opportunity, not the Julia Burnett opportunity or the Linda Tubin opportunity. Okay, but most certainly taking small steps to fix that will help exonerate and release you from that. Okay, now I want to switch into qualities of the people that we look for. Okay, my mindset really has always been, I'm not looking for just anybody. I'm actually selective. And I don't know if everyone would agree with me or not, but that's just how I've always been. I feel like that when you're looking for anybody, then you see nobody in particular. So for example, if I said, hey, next week we're having a party, invite everyone you know. You'll go, everyone I know. Like, you don't think of anyone specifically. But if I say, hey, we're having a party next weekend, invite your friends who are super, super fun and super, super successful. Then you immediately like thought of somebody, right? Like you thought of one or two people when I said that. And so it's important that when you're looking for eagles, that's almost all you see. And I think that's part of my success, and there is no secret to success, let's be clear, but part of the speed at which I was able to go at my business was because I pinpointed eagles, like women who were eagles, because for the same amount of energy to put into somebody and to invest in somebody, an eagle could like really soar. Whereas someone who maybe doesn't have some of those coping skills or the emotional savvy or the success skills or good habits in their life for the same amount of energy, they can only go this far. Okay, so that was part of my energy management, was really focusing on these A-level players. Okay, so some of the qualities of people that I look for are, number one, people who had a hunger for more in life. Like the hunger for more in life matched with a willingness to actually do the work. And it's one thing to be hungry for it, but it's another to be like, I'm hungry for it and I want it enough to actually call somebody. I want it enough to actually like call someone to release the energy. Okay, and often it looks like people who've been successful at something else. It doesn't necessarily mean they're successful in business, but they can be a successful, you know, stay-at-home mom. They can be a successful PTA president. They can be a successful leader in their community or in a college. They can be a good student, someone who has lots of interests, someone who runs events at church, someone who is a successful friend, you know, to others, but not the down and out people, not the people who like they need Mary Kay. Okay, but rather the people who Mary Kay needs. Okay, there's a big difference. You know, I always try to go for the 9s and 10s, the 9 and 10 level confident people. They're the hardest ones to get and they take the longest to get, but they are the ones that get it. When they get it quickly and they need less hand holding. Now, how do you go for the 9s and the 10s? Well, you have to be a 9 or a 10 on your confidence level. Well, how do you do that? Well, it's a journey. And part of another tip, I would say, that one of the things I did well, very well, and very consistently over the whole like 10 years it took me to be a national sales director was I read books constantly. In fact, you know, right here at my desk, okay, let me just show you. This is just my desk. This does not include, you know, what I have downstairs by my bed. Okay, so this is just my desk. Okay, these are all the books. These are the books I just have at my desk. This is Courageous Leadership by Bill Hybels, 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell, Visioneering by Andy Stanley, Mark Batterson, The Circle Maker, and then this trio from John Maxwell, The Winning Attitude, Developing Leaders Around You, and Becoming a Person of Influence. So these are all the books that I just have here. And I reference them constantly. I mean, I want you to see, like, this is the inside cover of that. I just want to show you, like, what success looks like. When I read books, like, I, like, study them. I dog ear, and I underline, and look at this. I've got note cards. Look at this. Look at this. I've got all these note cards on my desk, and these are all, like this says, I am aware. These are all, like, goals and phrases and all kinds of stuff. Like, these are my new habits. I've got stuff all over the place. My gifts have been activated. Don't allow anyone else situation or comment to derail me. I mean, these are the types of things. I read this all the time. Faith is essential. No intelligence, physical ability, talent, or discernment can replace faith. Prayerfully prepare for opposition and determined to carry on humbly in God's strength. We cannot serve God and be unduly concerned for the opinions of those who do not love him. I mean, these are like the things, like, I read these to myself all the time. But you've got to grow yourself, and that's the only way you're going to attract level 9 and 10 people, is when you are level 9 and 10. So how do you increase your level of confidence? Is you build yourself up, girls. You build yourself up. You got to brainwash yourself, because if you don't do it, the world's going to do it, and the world doesn't have very much I want to listen to. So anyway, that's what I got to say about that. All right, the next thing is, if you're going to a Mary Kay convention together with her, would you want to room with her? If the answer is not really, if the answer is no, like, no, I really wouldn't want to room with her. I wouldn't want to drive with her. I wouldn't want to sleep in the same bed with her at a conference. Then maybe you shouldn't ask her to be on your team. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. The next one is, does she attract people to her? Is she sincere? Does she have a life-giving energy about her? Is she, yeah, does she attract people to her? Sometimes you can't put your finger on what it is. But there are, negative people and positive people, and I'm not looking for negative. And I personally look for women who have a spiritual foundation, or someone who seems to be desiring that. And it's just what I want to have on my team. And I just think when someone is aligned in that way, there's so much more inside of her. Like, she's more willing to grow and to be open and to say, yeah, I want to grow. And maybe through this business is one of the ways I can exercise that faith. Okay. So I believe you will have results faster, when you look for eagles and when you look for women that meet that description. I've also heard it say before, and I used to not say this publicly, but I'll say it. I used to be afraid of offending somebody, but I'm just going to say it. But, you look for women who have several of the following qualities. One is she's between the ages of 25 and 50. One, she owns her own home, which usually means she's gainfully employed, married, has a college education, been successful at something else in life. We always say how you run your life is how you run your business, and has kids. Now, that's just a generalization. I was not between the ages of 25 and 50. I was younger than that. I had actually just bought my own home, but it was only $58,000. I had just gotten married. I was college educated, but I did not have kids. I mean, so I'm just saying, but these are just guidelines. And there's reasons for that. If she owns a home, she typically has a job. If she has a husband, then they have a second income in the family, which many times is very helpful when you're getting a business off the ground. If she has children, oftentimes she has a reason to make it work. Between the age of 25 and 50, you've got just a nice an age range where she's got energy and maturity. So those are some of the things. But most of my area is probably younger than 25. So I'm just saying those are general guidelines. Okay, but that's just something to keep in mind. Now, what do we do at the appointment? Okay. Well, if I was a consultant, and maybe everyone does it different ways, so don't let me step on your toes if your director does this differently, but this is the way I always did it, is as a sales director, I would let my consultants know when my availability was to do career chats, at least until the point I was doing them on my own. Okay. And so I'd ask your sales director, what is her schedule for career chats? I found another hindrance to setting up career chats would be if I went into an appointment and I really didn't know when my director could meet with me and my prospect. And so therefore I was less likely to ask because I didn't have her dates down. So there's got to be a good system. A lot of my directors now use, I think it's you.bookme or youbook.me, one of those, you.bookme or youbook.me to schedule those. And that seems to work really well. But you've got to pre-decide before you get there when in your calendar you can do career surveys, whether they're by yourself or with your sales director. Okay. The second thing I would always do is I did play the purse game with my dream book at my parties, and that's basically the Mrs. Cab game, although I kind of modified it to be shorter. And now I don't even use purses. I just say find an object in the room. That way they can go, oh, C is for curtain, or R is for red. And so now it helps it to go faster. But in my flip chart, in my flip chart, I actually built the purse game into the flip chart. So, when I get to C is for cards, I can show a picture of of the cards. When I get to, you know, W, watch what I do and see if you think you'd ever want to learn to do what I do. I have, you know, watch me tonight. So I just have pictures in the flip chart that kind of lead me through the purse game. The third thing is, I think it's important to use pictures and vision casting. You know, the brain remembers so much more of what they can see and hear versus just talkie, okay? Especially in today's world, people have to see it and experience it to really remember it. So, you know, under the C is for cards. I would show a picture of the car that you want to earn the use of. And let me show you, oh goodness, I may not have it in this one. This is my demo one. Okay, well, I'm not gonna worry about it, but I really want to show you nonetheless. Okay, well, whatever. I have a little car poster. It has a picture of the car and it has all the lines for the interviews. And so I would take that. I teach my consultants to take that to their appointments. And when you play the purse game or the, you know, find the object game, and you say C is for cars, and you show a picture of the Chevy Cruze, and it has got 20 little slots underneath it, and you say, now my goal this month is to begin earning the use of my very first Mary Kay career car, the Chevy Cruze, and part of what I want to do to earn it is I've got to share the opportunity, the Mary Kay opportunity, with 20 women this month, okay? And now fully knowing it will not be for about 15 of the 20, and I want you to know I'm totally okay with that. But if any of you might be willing to listen in about the Mary Kay opportunity and just ask me questions, if you could sign this tracking sheet, you know, for me for later on, I'll be happy to whatever. And lots of times I gave people like a half price color item for that, and I would just share how grateful I would be. So you kind of plant the seed at the beginning of the appointment. That's what you're going to do. Okay. And one thing I never understood before Mary Kay was you got to understand that women love to give their opinion. They love to give their opinion. I still love to give my opinion. We went on a mission trip last October. Me and my daughter did, to Costa Rica, and my missions pastor actually sent me an email after the trip, and she said, hey, I just want to get your opinion on what you felt about, you know, the training before the trip and how the trip went, and anything I could do to make my training better or more comprehensive. And I love the fact that she asked me that. It made me feel so important that she sent me a one-on-one email. She didn't blast it on Facebook. She didn't send it to the whole team. She might have, but she only emailed me that I know of. And I sat there and I had like 180 emails in my inbox, and I like hit reply and I just started typing. And it was because she wanted my opinion and she asked for it one-on-one. So women love to give their opinion. Remember that. Okay. Now, what do you say when you give out the info? Okay. Well, one is when you set the date for the time to get together, it's got to be quick. I mean, many of us, this is where we weenie out. And, you know, you're better than that, right? You're not going to weenie out. You got to be courageous. I'm just telling you, you just have to be courageous. You cannot weenie out, okay? So you got to pre-decide before you leave the table and you move to the one-on-one. I already pre-decide I'm definitely talking to her and her. Like, I just decide no matter what they write on the back of their profile card or whatever I think, I'm going to ask them because they're the ones that I want. And I decide I'm going to be courageous. So when I get to the end, I'm sitting with her one-on-one. I have a tendency to say, I'll just call her back later. Do you ever do that? I bet you do. Do you ever do? Okay, I hope you don't. But I can say I bet some of you do because many of my consultants do. I'll just call her back later. Well, that is weenie, and that is weenie, and we are not going to be weenie women. We are going to be like, I got this, okay? So when you're sitting there and you catch yourself thinking, I'll just call her, go, nope, 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 nope. Nothing about that's easier. Nothing about that's easier later. It's always easier in the moment. Nothing is easier about calling her later. Zero. Okay, so you decide, I'm not going to weenie out. I'm going to ask her then, okay? So here's what you say. After you do the icebreaker question and the sale and the booking, at the end of that, you say, one more thing, Sally. Remember earlier how I was talking about my big goal with my business and earn the use of that car? Well, I wanted to see if there's any reason why you couldn't be one of my 20 women this month to give me your opinion of Mary Kay. And I have found most people say, sure, what do I have to do? Okay. Also, you may have her right on the back of your profile card, you know, yes, no, maybe, or whatever. So you can also look at that. But the point is to say, they almost always say, sure, what do I have to do? Okay. Now, this is another part where I feel that sometimes we don't set it up very strongly. And if you feel like you're setting up career chats, but there's a breakdown between the career chat setup and the actual holding of it, it could be in this. Now I'm going to tell you what I say. It's long and it's a mouthful. I have not figured out to this day how to make it shorter. But you know what? It works. And people show up prepared for me because I kind of share with them what I want them to do. Okay? So when she says, sure, what do I have to do? You say, well, listen, just take this info. And again, I've got info. Now let me stop there. For some of you younger folks, you may be like, well, I don't have any info to give her. I'm just texting her a link. That is a problem. And the reason that's a problem is because people need hard copy, tangible stuff. They need stuff because otherwise it's just like imaginary. Okay, yet they need actual stuff. And the company does have this really nice brochure that they just came out with. It's on InTouch. It's under, I think it's under education, under how to build a team. And then after that, I think it's under tools. So education, how to build a team, tools. And you got to, unfortunately, you got to have it printed or printed out. But it's a front and back, and it's like this and this. And so I would give out that. I would have at least like 20 to 30 packets already made up, so you're prepared. So you don't have to like worry about that. I'd have that, your business card. I'd have a lookbook. I'd have any kind of other like literature you could give her. Okay, and so you say, well, here you go, just take this info. Okay, and I know, you know, maybe in a billion years, you know, becoming a Mary Kay gal might not be something, you know, I don't know, that you might ever want to do or not. But it totally helps me out with training. Now, let me stop and say this. What I would not say is, I know this is nothing you'd ever want to do. Okay, because really that's kind of like a trick. I know you never want to do this, but okay, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it may not be something you've ever considered before, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Now, you need to say that because that disarms her. Like, she needs to know that you're totally okay. If she shows up and says, you know, Mary Kay's great, it's just not for me, that is totally fine. You need to totally disarm her. Okay, this isn't about recruiting her. You're sharing the opportunity, and it is really helpful for you. And if it's for her, awesome. You'll be so excited. You won't lie. You'll be so excited. And if not, great. She learns more about Mary Kay and helps you out. Okay. So just take this info. You know, you may or may not have ever considered doing something like this. And if not, it's totally okay. I want you to know I'm totally okay with that. But it totally helps me out in my training. Okay. And I would just need you to take this packet of info, watch this video, or send them the link for Linda's Choices, or send them the link of whatever you're using. And just write down questions for me. Like watch it or listen to it through the lens. I love to say the word lens. Listen to it through the lens of like, if this is something you would ever want to do, even though it may not be, but if you ever wanted to, what would you want to know about it? Okay, just write those questions down for me. And that just helps me out tremendously with my training. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll just meet up for coffee with a Mary Kay mentor or over the phone, and I'll just listen to how she answers your questions. And it's just really great training for me. And then this video is, or this audio link is, and I describe what it is. And I tell you what, when I would talk about choices, I would say, listen, you will absolutely love this. It is not what you think it is. And I have had women who have literally said, I love that, I listened to it twice. Or I love that, I sent it on, or gave the CD to my mom. Or I gave it to my best friend because she just, I knew she needed to hear it and she would love it. Like, I have literally had dozens and dozens and dozens of women like just gush about Linda's Choices. And so what I want you to know is, and what Linda's Choices did such a good job, instead of it being like, here's my story of Mary Kay, Linda actually tells her story through a lens of where you could actually see yourself doing it too. Like, she leaves you asking yourself, like, you putting yourself as the hero in the story instead of her being the hero. Does that make sense? And that's what's different about Linda's Choices than anything else I've ever seen. And so it's so good. So when you speak about, oh, this is what it is, and I tell you what, it's not what you think it is. You will love it. It's so inspiring. I've even had women like give this to other people. I've even had women say, I listened to it 3 times because it was so inspiring. So listen, just write that down. And it might be a good time for us to connect in the next, day or two. Like, would Saturday work, or maybe Monday? I just kind of throw it out there, okay? But you want to set up the time immediately, okay? And the last thing I really want to say is you just have to be prepared. And I already showed you a little bit of what I'd put in a packet, but don't be cheap, y'all. This is building your business. And it's just important that you have packets made, and you actually have packets, okay? I'd put a starter kit flyer in there too, an agreement, and all of that. So what I want to end with today is our founder, Mary Kay Ash. I read one of her quotes on team building and on sharing the opportunities. She said, "Our company has brought financial security into women's homes and stability to their families. We are indeed changing this old world for the better. And I've often said that we're doing something far more important than just selling cosmetics. We're changing lives." And she said that in 1991 at a seminar speech. And I know I am so grateful for Mary Kay Ash. And indeed, when people, would stand in line for hours and hours to be able to meet her and to thank her for the impact that this company has had on their lives, I think she would inevitably hug them and whisper in their ear, pass it on. And that's what she has asked us to do too. So with that being said, congratulations on earning this. I hope that there's been something that you have taken away from it. And thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you have an amazing blow up month and that you're proud of yourself when you end it. And you can look back and go, gosh, yeah, I did that. It's kind of a fun thing. So anyhow, have a great day.